I'm truly excited about what's going to take place today. Ooh. Yeah, I am really excited about that because we're going to talk about true healing this morning. So if you are on any other page outside of my personal page, come to my personal page. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am truly excited for what's about to take place because we are about to discuss true healing this morning. So come on over to my personal page so we can all say good morning and have a blessed morning. Because it feels good. So we're going to talk about true healing. You know how I do. I don't wait around. We get right into it, okay? So this morning we're going to discuss true healing. And sometimes I always ask the question for people who want to believe that they're healed. And they think being healed is that, I'm sorry guys, I forgot to put the mic in. But they think that being healed means that something no longer bothers you, or because you don't acknowledge it, or because you don't accept it, that it's not true, that it doesn't exist, and all this other kind of stuff. But that's not true, guys. Nothing about that is true. Nothing about that is true. And so we're going to expose the deceit that dysfunction wants you to have when it comes to true and authentic healing. You have to understand, first of all, what true is. You have to understand, good morning, Veronica, what healing is. Because a lot of times we'll say certain things and you don't understand that you can be healed and not necessarily be whole. And so it's like a whole little thing that we do. And so on Friday, we learned about like understanding our truth, who we were, what it meant to be anointed. What does that mean? Why did we anoint our head with oil, and what that meant, and how it was meant to keep the lice out the ears of the sheep so that way it would not kill them, it would not infest their brains and everything. And as I begin to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, I just begin to realize how important knowledge is. I begin to realize how important it is for you to really constantly empower yourself. That keeps the lice out of here, because if anything gets in here, it's going to affect your eyes, your mouth, your nose. It's going to affect everything about you. This literally really is like the gateway, and it touches it's just so much. And it was so much. Oh yeah, before I forget, thank you guys for the emails, thank you guys for the calls. For those of you who signed up for the Mindset Matters course, thank you. It's only $99. Like, I appreciate all of you. Like I said, because of you guys, I have been able to do what I do in other countries right from home. Okay, so that's what makes this whole thing amazing. And I just feel really good this morning. So we're going to get right into understanding true healing, because a lot of times people want to believe that they're healed. But my question is, did dysfunction heal you? Because if you still angry and you are every time you talk about something, you're reliving it as if it had literally just happened, yeah, you're not healed. What happens is you've gained control, that power that we talk about. And so now there's a form of healing, but you are really not healed. When somebody can change how you act, they control you. Good morning, Janet. I'm trying to tell you, they control you. You don't have the power. If you go into a whole nother whirlwind, your everything changed, you are not healed. And don't try to fake it till you make it. You have to do what? The 4 pillars of mindset: acknowledge, accept, embrace, and evolve. This is going to be one of those things that's going to get real personal, because I always like to talk about me, because then that way it's not me talking about y'all, right? So one of the things that I had to understand about healing for my own process, good morning, Don, is that healing, you don't really know if you healed if you're not in that situation anymore. You don't know, because you don't really realize the injury that took place. Remember, we're not focused on the injury. We think because I don't see this person no more, I'm not in that situation anymore, then clearly I'm healed. No, you're just not there. Good morning, Teresa. You're just not there. So we're going to discuss true healing, and here are some definitions of true. Okay, you guys ready? Being in accordance with the actual state of affairs. Right? So you're in accordance with the actual state of affairs. You're in alignment, right? And that means that it has this, I'm getting there. Y'all know I get so excited. Okay? Conformable to an essential reality. Again, we're still just talking about what true means, right? Fully realized or fulfilled. So true healing, you begin to walk in fulfillment. Wait a minute. Being that which is the case rather than what is manifest or assumed. So that's one of the things I need y'all to understand about dysfunctional healing. Dysfunctional healing causes you to operate in the manifestation of your hurt. The anger manifests when you see somebody. The memories manifest. That's dysfunctional healing. You have, if it manifests anything other than your truth, that is dysfunctional healing. I'm gonna say it again. Being that which is the cause rather than what is manifest. So I'm gonna give y'all an example. Remember, I was molested, I was violated, right? The cause of me acting out and being promiscuous, right, was rejection. The cause was me being violated. The manifestation of that cause, the manifestation of that injury was me being fast and hot in the behind. So the manifestation is not your truth. The manifestation is just, the manifestation is what comes forth, right? So if the seed is rejection, if whatever manifests from that, that's not your truth. Remember, I keep telling you, those things are not your truth. Because you begin to speak, I'm this and I'm that because of this. But that's just the manifestation of it. You ever seen somebody, oh my God, they so angry, they this and they're that. And then when you get to the root of it, you realize that they're being bullied. You realize that they grew up in an abusive household. You realize that something dramatic has happened because you got to the cause rather than the manifestation. We've been taught to operate and deal with the manifestation and not the cause of what was manifested. See, I was promiscuous, right? But I was a little different. Remember I told you I had little ailments and things, just the way I saw stuff. So I operated and people always addressed what manifests. You so flip, Tisha. You so mean. You so disrespectful. You don't respect your elders. You don't do this and you don't do that. Well, they were right. I was rude. I was disrespectful. I was mean. I did have a nasty attitude, but what they were addressing, what was manifest. They did not address the cause of the manifestation. They did not address the truth. The truth of the matter is I lived in a house with a bunch of dysfunctional women. So of course I'm going to be angry. Of course I'm not going to have respect for you if you're telling me, and I am 7 and 8 and 9, that I am a whore. I'm not even sorry. There's no way I'm going to respect you because you took your power to gain control over me with your words. So a lot of times when you think that you're healed, you are not healing the cause. You're just healing the manifestation, which means you're not healing nothing. You just pruning hedges instead of pulling it up from the root. All right, y'all ready? Properly so-called. Now, the adverb is without variation from the type. So if you authentically is a kind-hearted person, right? And you will do anything, you'll give your last. I heard people say that they don't mind giving people stuff. They like being the true and loyal friend and all these other things that we talked about, right? Anything that makes you deviate from that is not your truth. I authentically, I'm a very nice person. Like, I'll get along with anybody. Anything that deviates me from that, I am not walking in my truth. I am walking in a manifested variation of it, but that is not my truth. Because what happens is anytime you operate in something that is not your truth, it causes trauma. It makes you feel a certain type of way. When I am not able to authentically empower people, like I really like giving people information to make them better, it makes me feel some type of way. If I see somebody in doing something and then, a prime example, my business, okay, my company, what I do now. I had started getting all this advice from people. They was like, girl, you giving too much information away for free. You got to start charging them, start doing this and start doing that. You guys, I was miserable. I didn't even do nothing for probably 2 months because I was trying to operate in something that was not authentically me. I was trying to operate in something that was not my truth. I was trying to operate in what had manifested. Because I was trying to do what they say. This is how you got to run your business. This is how you got to do this. This is how you got to do that. So now I'm trying to operate in something that is not my truth. I'm just operating in what was manifested. Why? Because I know what I have is good. I don't worry about that. I don't need nobody to tell me, oh, girl, you really a life coach. I didn't need that. But I was trying to understand my truth. Okay, what do I do? How am I going to empower people? And I'm listening to these people. We get in meetings and all this other kind of stuff. And we're going to help you get high ticket clients. So I'm trying to prune myself to look and operate like everybody else. But that was not my truth. So I was deviating and I was variating from what I was designed to be and do. And dysfunction has you walking in different variations of truth, which means it ain't your truth. So, okay, again, because I get so excited, right? I get so excited. So the noun of true, the noun of the word true is the quality or state of being accurate, as in alignment or adjustment, right? So when something's not aligned properly, it cannot function properly. If I am not aligned properly, I cannot function properly. And that means I'm operating in dysfunction. And dysfunction is the opposite of purpose. So if what I'm doing does not align with my purpose, I am clearly not operating in my truth. So if your healing does not align with your purpose, are you really healed? Because dysfunction mimics behavior. Dysfunction does not want you to be empowered. It just wants you to have power so it can have power over you. Remember, this one is kind of long, you guys, because it's a lot of definitions, but I want you guys to get it. The verb of true: to make level, square, balanced, to bring or restore to a desired mechanical accuracy or form. So what I want you to understand is something. When I begin to align in my true healing, it puts me in my purpose. You cannot walk in your purpose and you are not truly healed, because there is no real alignment. And what happens is, because you're not truly healed, you are continuing to injure yourself and others. When you are not truly healed from hurt, you will begin to do what? Spew the hate and the pain and the hurt on those closest to you. Because true healing aligns you with your purpose. True healing does not allow you to deviate from that which is according to your truth. It does not manipulate you into being something someone else says that you should be. Remember, we have the three. Carl Rogers taught us: the real us, the ideal us, and the ought to be us. That ought to be us, that's what people want us to operate in most of the time. They want to craft who and what they say we are and who and what they say we are supposed to be. But if that's not your truth, you will not align with it. And a lot of times, like I tell people, the 4 A's, right? When there's a situation in your life, you assess it, right? So I got to look at this thing. Is this really me, right? You assess it. You address it, because I realize I'm not aligned like I'm supposed to be. I'm not in balance. I'm not where I need to be at. You adjust it accordingly. So if what I'm doing does not align with my purpose, I have to assess, acknowledge. I told you everything go back to the 4 pillars. So I have to acknowledge that, guess what? This is me. I am not aligned with my purpose. I have not aligned with my true healing. I have not aligned with the fact. What I've done is I've allowed dysfunction to align me with dysfunctional behavior to manifest. But I have not yet got to the cause of the manifestation. So be ready. Y'all ready? Okay. So heal. Because a lot of y'all be out here talking, I'm healed, honey. That don't even bother me no more. They could do what they want to do, but you still talking about it. Every time somebody listening, you talking about it. Honey, you not healed. Every time you see that person, you go into this whole whatever. You're not healed. Every time you walk by somebody from that old job and they fired you and you felt like they done you wrong, and mind you, you could be doing way better. You go into this whole thing of how they did you wrong. You are not healed, honey. Because you have to get to the point of what was the cause of that manifestation. And y'all don't want to believe that you got bad attitudes. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. So what does it mean to be healed? What does heal mean? Okay, y'all know I grew up in the church. So they be like, be healed, be healed, be healed. And I hear it so much. But who's really being healed? Wait a minute. To make free from injury or disease, to make sound or whole. So if I'm healed, remember Friday, we learned about the injuries and the illness and the sickness. But when you are healed from something, you are made free from the injury or the disease. So in order for you to be healed, what is dysfunction? Dysfunction is a virus. That's a disease. And it wants to replicate something. But because you have yet to understand your authentic alignment, you keep adjusting and addressing the manifestations and not the cause. Some of y'all want to believe it's everybody else. No, sweetie, it's you. I promise you, it's you. In order to change your life, you must first be willing to change your mindset. Mindset is self-reflection, so you could become self-aware. But because you don't want to do that, you want to gain power over the situation and the person that you feel wronged you. So all you want to operate in is what has manifested and not the cause of the manifestation. See, listen, my daddy was abusive. I told y'all that to my mom. So what happened was I became an angry little woman. Like a little kid, I was angry. I was a bully. I was bullied. I had so many issues. Nobody wanted to address the cause of my anger. They just wanted to address when my anger manifested. So nobody want to talk about it when we calm and we're just having and why do you act like that? No, they don't want to do that. They want to come at me when what has manifested is out of order. See, even in church, like a lot of times you praise the wrong things. Like I realized that. We always talking about like sin and what somebody did, but all you're talking about is the manifestation. Let's discuss the cause of what manifested. Because I cannot be true if I'm not in my accuracy, if I am not in alignment, if I am not free from the disease. Remember, possession and oppression are not the same thing, but they can carry the same weight. Do you understand that if you are not in alignment, if you are not free from the disease of dysfunction, you are not healed? How do I know if I'm not healed? If I see so-and-so and I go into a whole thing about it, baby, that thing's still there. Those of you who say I got church hurt and I ain't no longer at that church no more, but every time somebody talking to you, you bringing that up. Baby, you not healed. You not. Stop lying to yourself. Because you don't want to acknowledge that that thing's still sitting there. You don't want to acknowledge that that thing still hurt. You don't want to acknowledge that, wait, I still have the injury. And what you have to understand now with the alignment is that some of you will still have the evidence of where the injury took place. Some of you will still have the scar of where the injury took place, but healing allows you to understand that it don't hurt no more. That you can touch it and it don't hurt no more. That we can discuss it and it don't hurt no more. That I can walk up on it and it don't hurt no more. When it no longer hurts, not that you're numb to it, but it no longer hurts, then you begin to operate in true and authentic healing. Because now you begin to align with the fact that I cannot change what has already taken place, but I can evolve from it. I don't want to just prune hedges, because that's what we've been taught to do, prune hedges. Nobody ain't pulling nothing up from the root. If you don't get to the root of the infestation, all you doing is planting new infestation places. I'm going to just cut this off, and I'm just prune this, and I'm make it look pretty. No, pull it up from the root. Because if you don't align with it, like, oh my God, if you do not address it, if you do not assess it, then you cannot adjust it accordingly. It's not going to happen. So what is another thing for heal? To make well again, to restore to health, to cause an undesirable condition to be overcome. Right? Heal. to restore to original purity or integrity. Because heal is so much. We be like, oh, I'm healed. You healed from what? When you're healed, it takes you to a pure place. It takes you to that place. You know how they used to tell us you got to have a good name among them. When you're healed, it cleanses you. What is purity? That's cleansed. That's in its authentic state. Remember, I told you mindset is a circle. Unique is what? That's genuine. That's one of a kind. That's authentic. Genuine, that's authentic. Unique, that's one of a kind. So you're telling me when I am healed, that I go back to my pure state, the very thing I was designed to do, the very thing I was designed to walk in, my purpose. Because your purpose is pure. Because your purpose teaches you not to live life as a situation, but to live it as a journey. But because you didn't know that in order for that to happen, true healing takes you to a pure state. Remember on Friday, we had Fresh Start Friday, and it was clean, and we washed it, but we didn't understand why we had to anoint this. When you're in a pure state, and that oil been dripping all on them sheep, the reason they did that is because them lice couldn't get in the hairs. They would slide down. So as you begin to operate in true healing, the thing that was sent to destroy you, the thing that was sent to kill you, because remember, the lice would kill the sheep. That thing cannot attach to you because now you operate in your pure purpose. But because you didn't understand what it meant to be healed, you didn't understand that when you walk in healing, it takes you back to your pure state. It removes the taint. It removes all the doubt. When you walk in true healing, when you operate in what the cause of a thing is and not what manifests, when you assess it, when you address it and adjust it accordingly. When you understand that I have to acknowledge that that's what I want you to understand. That thing hurts. Injury hurts. Pain hurts. Disease hurts. Dysfunction hurts. You have to be willing to assess that thing and say, man, I cannot get to my true purpose if I do not acknowledge that this thing hurts. And it's taking me out of my pure state. It's taking me out of my alignment. This injury, this thing that's affecting my low self-esteem, this thing that has me in prison is taking me from my pure state. Healing. We use that word so much, but how many of us are authentically healed? How are we actually able to walk in our pure state in the thing that we were purposed to be in? I keep telling you, you are not trying to find your purpose. You just need to walk in it, but you cannot because you have yet to get that anointed oil. You have to empower yourself. You have to not only have the knowledge, but apply the knowledge. You have to be able to evolve. You have to acknowledge that is you, accept that is you, embrace that is you, and evolve into the purposeful you are designed to be from the beginning. Dysfunction was something that was trying to derail you. But true healing brings about a purity. It takes it to its purest state. Dysfunction simply wants you to prune hedges. And it hurts. It does not feel good. But in order for you to heal, there has to be self-reflection. And self-reflection manifests pain and power. But healing frees you from the injury or the disease to make sound or whole, to become free from injury or disease, to return to a sound state. Sound meaning solid state. When this is infested, when dysfunction has infested this, you're not in a sound state mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. You're not in a sound state of mind because it got here. So you can tell me anything and I can see it, but when that infestation get here, it make my eyesight off. It make my mouth off. It make my hands off. So I am not able to operate into what is pure for me. How do I truly heal? See, some of y'all, we want a quick, instantaneous answer to that. You are going to have to self-reflect, acknowledge that it's you, accept that it's you, embrace that it's you, and evolve into the purpose for you were designed to be. But you can't do that if you're not ready to really understand what it means to be healed. When I talk to you guys about being violated, I don't go into a whole, because it don't hurt no more. It doesn't mean I forgot. It doesn't mean that's implanted in me. It's not going nowhere. That's sewn into my fabric. I know what I was doing. I know where the rooms were at that I was violated in. I know what I was wearing for the most part. I remember the conversations. That imagery has never went anywhere. But because I am healed from it, it no longer controls my actions. It no longer controls what manifests from it. If that thing is controlling what manifests, you are not healed. Because it controls how you react, how you respond, and how you respond and how you reply. When it no longer does that I can sit and have a conversation, not because I'm withdrawn from what happened, but because I am healed from what happened. When my father, who I didn't hear stories of abusing my mother, I saw abuse my mother. His mouth was reckless. His hands reckless. Everything about him was reckless. But when I tell you, as I begin to grow, not even knowing that I was going to be doing this, I didn't know I was going to be doing this then. When my daddy died, I was there. I was in the room when he took his last breath. I had to sign the do not resuscitate order. I had to stand there and could not touch him. Because he was dying. They say he had gangrene. They were supposed to do surgery. My grandfather couldn't even come in the room. When I cried, mind you, this is the man who I know I saw hang my mom and my brother over a balcony. Let me tell you about healing. Because there's a dysfunctional way to heal, and that's when you continue to embrace the abuse. And then there's a functional way to heal, where you don't tolerate the abuse. When I learned how to shut it down before it could even get started. But I sat there, and my dad, I couldn't touch my dad. I couldn't do none of that. But as I looked at him, it isn't that I pitied him, but I loved him for who he was authentically. He didn't know how to be anybody else but Bradley, right? But in that moment of infestation, to sit and not be able to hug him and say goodbye, to have the hospice nurse say, he was waiting on you to get here. Because after I said what I needed to say, it not only released him, but it released me. Because I had to get to the cause of my anger. I had to get to the cause of what was manifesting in me. I had to get to the cause of the rejection. See, most of us assume the rejection came from the violation. The rejection came from the injuries that my dad had caused with his mouth and his actions. But because I had not understood how to release myself, it controlled my actions, my thoughts, because I was not truly healed. I had just learned how to cope with my emotions. I remember sitting in the car with my daddy, and he was getting on my nerves. I had taken him to the doctor's office, and my mom said, push him out the car. Because as he was talking, it manifested. All the stuff he had done to my mama, all the stuff that he had done to us, all the times he neglected us, all the times he left us to be with somebody else, all the times he knew we didn't have lights and we didn't have water, and he got up and just left. All of that manifested. So I remember thinking, I can just push him out the car and it'll be okay. Like, people will understand. Because every time he spoke, it's almost like he dug up the injuries and the disease that sat there. But until I understood that I'm not going to be healed, I didn't even realize that I had gotten healed until years later. I didn't even realize that me telling my daddy, and listen to me. I said, Dad, listen, I'm crying. Oh my God, it was so bad, guys, that I couldn't even cry like regular cry. You know what I'm saying? Like I could, if tears was running down here, I could only pat this eye with a tissue, and then I had to throw that away, and I couldn't use the same tissue to cry. Couldn't do it. I didn't even understand why I had to suit up. Mind you, all my dad had was diabetes and some gangrene. I don't know if that's contagious or not. So as I'm sitting there, this is the man who beat my mama. This is the man who literally had us sitting on the hood of a car, and he decided he would speed up and slam on brakes, and me and my mom flew off the car. This is the man who came home dressed up one day, told us to jump in the car. My hair wasn't done, my mama hair wasn't done, and made us get out of the car at Zayres in Sanford, looking a hot mess. This is that man. This is the man that would beat my mama, and when the police would come, right, they would be outside shooting the breeze like it's okay, and he come in the house like nothing happened. This is the man who seemed to love everybody else but me. See, remember when we started this, we were assuming that the rejection started with the violation. No, the rejection started with my dad, because you have to get to the cause of your anger. You have to get to the cause of your injury, because if you don't, you're only going to address the manifestations of the cause. The anger, the mouth, that I learned from my dad. So I didn't understand it, because my dad, when I say we had good times, we go to the park. My dad taught me how to fish. He would put me on his motorcycle. We would do all these amazing things, and yet I'm still injured. Because I can't heal from what you said and did to my mom. I don't know how to do that. You left us here with no lights, with no waters, none of that. You just up and was gone for a couple of days, and then you came back smelling all fresh and clean. And my mom, see, that's why I have to tell you guys, you have to understand true healing. Because if I had not forgiven my dad, I would not be able to do this right here now. That's why I have an issue with leaders teaching people how to preach through the pain and stay up there and don't. You was a liar. All you're doing is creating more dysfunctional people. That's it. That's all. I'm sorry, you don't have to agree with me. If your mindset ain't together and you still injured, you're creating other injured people. Lies. Sit down, be healed, and get it together. Because there ain't no way I would have been able to do what I do effectively and tell other people that they could forgive the people who injured them and hurt them, and I'm still housing hate and anger towards my doggone daddy. That don't work. So as he's there, and he's literally, his eye had coated, that little white stuff that come over your eye. Oh baby, he was on his way out. He was on his way out. And I sat there and I was talking to him. My mom was trying to make it to me. My husband was all the way in Sarasota. I was driving. I started to feel guilty because I stopped at Cracker Barrel to get me something to eat before he was going to surgery. When I called, the lady said, "Where are you?" I said, "Ma'am, I'm on my way," but he not answering the phone. By then, my dad had coded. He was in hospice care, but nobody knew he had been in hospice for like 6 months in hospice care. So they took him to the ICU, and they put him on life support. So now the man who has caused the injuries to me, I have to sit and decide, do I release my dad and say, no, let him live because he ain't ready to die? Or do I truthfully think, am I keeping him here for a reason? Because see, part of me was like, you're suffering. There's some crazy stuff you did to us. That's part of me. The other part of me was like, that's my daddy. And as I walked through it, because some of y'all going to have to, oh my God, this just came to me, y'all. Some of y'all going to have to write a do not resuscitate order. You're going to have to sign it for the dysfunction. Do not resuscitate the dysfunction. Do not resuscitate. Because as I got there, y'all, as I got to the door and I knocked on the door, and my aunties and my granddaddy, they was all out there. And the nurse came through that I had spoken to. And he said, "Baby, you got to sign this." And I'm staring at him because, what do you mean I got to sign this? Like, why I got to sign it? Why I got to sign the do not resuscitate order? First of all, I'm the only kid, right? So, of course, it's going to be me. And my dad left pretty much everything up to me. And I remember thinking, is this the right thing to do? What should I do? But I knew my dad would have resented me if I did not, because he would not have been able to operate in full capacity. Okay? The diabetes had shut down everything that he had. But I need you guys to literally write this. Do not resuscitate the dysfunction. because if you do, it will come back with the vengeance. Do not resuscitate. So I go in the room, I sign the paper, I'm crying, I'm all kinds of emotional, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm looking at the man that I love. And then you realize that this is where all my anger stems from. This is where all my hurt stems from. This is the cause of many of my choices in my younger days. Because his anger was so manifested. But that was his way of expressing love. So there was a thin line between love and hate. They're both driven by passion. But how am I going to be made whole from this disease? Some of y'all right now saying y'all don't forgave your parents and stuff. You ain't. You just lying to yourself. That's why every time they do something, you react to the manifestation of what's already in you. And so now you have to learn how to be free from the dysfunction. Remember, that's the whole process. We're trying to rid ourselves of the virus of dysfunction because that's abnormal behavior. It goes against your purpose. It goes against you being whole. It goes against you being healed. It goes against your truth. It's not aligned. It's not aligned with your purpose, but it's aligned with your purpose. Oh, we're not going to talk about that. Do not resuscitate the dysfunction. So I'm sitting there and I'm staring at my dad and I'm like, oh my God, this is real. They done suited me up. I'm in there. I think my auntie was on one side and my granddad was at the door. And my auntie was like, Libby. So you got to know me to call me Libby. That's my family name, Libby. She was like, you okay, Libby? I was like, yeah. I cry. And I'm staring. And I tell my daddy two things. I said, Dad, you don't have to, actually it was three. You don't have to hang on for me now. Because I know you don't want to live like this. I teach the boys how to fish. But what I don't think I'm going to be able to do is teach them how to fix a car. And by the time I got car out of my mouth, I heard the machine go beep. He was gone. Now, previous to that, I did tell my dad, I said, I love you, Daddy. You don't have to hang on for me. This is not the life that you want. But when I released him, I released me because that was my dad. As I got older, as I became a life coach, as I began to understand my truth, as I began to understand how to operate and not the manifestations of my issue, but to address the cause of my reactions. It empowered me to do what it is that I do now. I have no hate. I have no anger towards my dad. None of that. Remember, I told y'all I grew up in a very dysfunctional household. So if my daddy wasn't abusing me, then I was going to my grandma's house and all kind of crazy stuff was happening over there. You hear me? But because we were all just dysfunctional people. So ask yourself, are you authentically whole? Whole means free from defects or impairment, physically sound and healthy, free of disease or deformity, mentally or emotionally sound. Because some of y'all are not emotionally or mentally sound. You have to be honest. That's why I love being a life coach, right? Because if I get in there with a client and I realize this is deeper than me, oh, we're going to refer you out. You need a psychiatrist. You need a psychologist, somebody that you could talk to, because I realize that this is above me now. Right? You have to be able to walk in truth. Everybody want to be everything. I can't be everything to everybody. I'm going to be what I can be in that moment. I'm going to be in my truth. I am a life coach. I am good at that. I can give you the proper tools, resources, and a strategic plan. And if the proper tools and resources are me referring you out, then that's what I'm going to do. Because that's authentic empowerment. You don't want power over people. You want to empower yourself. Right? So, very great and quantity, extent, or scope, constituting the entirety of a person's nature or development. Are you whole? Have you healed? Is it true healing? Or has dysfunction masked itself as healing? So that way it can get you to manifest something and not address the cause at all. We have been conditioned to address the manifested state and not the cause. We have been conditioned to address those things that are just the fruit on the tree, because nobody want to get to the root. Nobody wants to get to the bottom of it. Nobody want to pull it up, because in the midst of you pulling it up, you're going to realize that it wasn't just you. See, the roots, those are family. That's everything that's been connected to you. Are you authentically healed? Or does when you get in that those little small confined spaces that dysfunction done imprisons you in, and then the manifestation of the cause starts to show its little head. And because we don't want nobody to see that we're not truly healed, we prune hedges so we look like everybody else, so we look aligned. But that's one thing about true alignment. You're going to constantly be pruning hedges now. That's constant. But when you're in your purpose, remember on Friday, Festus had made a great point. He was like, purpose preserves you. So what should have driven you crazy, it couldn't, because purpose preserved you. What is the oil? Why am I anointed this? Because this is how I'm going to start my day. I have to control how all this is going to operate. So I'm going to give myself as much knowledge and power that's going to be specific to where I'm at now. So that way I can move forward. If nothing else comes out of this, nothing, do not resuscitate the dysfunction. And resuscitating it is you connecting back to it. If dysfunction is unconscious, because you're getting it, you've acknowledged it, use it, do not go back and give it mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. That's how you're going to pass that infection back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Do not resuscitate the dysfunction. When you're healed from something, when you're made whole from something, it aligns itself with your purpose. We are not trying to find our purpose. We're not doing that. We are walking in our purpose. All that chaos, all that hell I went through in my life, that was my purpose to get me here. I had to know what it felt like to be authentically healed and whole. Because if not, I was just operating in a falsehood that could only be, that would show up and then it'll go back. It'll show up and it'll go back. I didn't realize until after one of my pedophiles died that they were still controlling me. And I hadn't seen these people in years because I had not released myself of the guilt and the anger and the hurt. See, that's true healing, is when you release yourself from it. How do I do that, Tisha? How do I release myself? You know how they give you medications? Because they tell you, like, when you take surgery, this medication is different than once you come into recovery. So this right here, this is like surgery. The anesthesiologist done came in and gave you the right amount. But it's that home care. It's that aftercare. It's after all this is over, Monday through Friday. What are you doing? How are you continuously keeping your mindset together? Physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. How are you keeping your mindset together? Remember, mindset is an established set. Oh my gosh. So I want us all to take a moment. Like, I want y'all to, like, I know y'all listening to me, but I want y'all authentically to take this moment and say, you know what? What I'm going to do is I am going to take this moment and see how many times I resuscitated my dysfunction. Because that's the problem with some of you. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about how people are afraid of freedom because they've been locked in prison of dysfunction for so long that when the freedom actually comes, that we don't want it. So you go back and you resuscitate the dysfunction. How many times are you going to return to that situation and ignite it? I learned something. back in the day when I was in the church, when I was going to this one particular church, and we had an amazing, like, he was the bomb, like, youth leader. He was amazing. He was like a pastor and stuff. He was the bomb. And one day we was in church and we had realized that he wasn't coming like he used to, stuff like that. Let me tell you how you resuscitate dysfunction. And so I remember pastor, she was preaching and she called him up and she was like, I saw you at the bar. Like God had showed her a vision. And he put his head down. She said, you cannot go back to it, because if you go back to it, it's going to take you over. He went back to it. And when I tell you, drugs took him down to the point to where one time we saw him, we didn't even know that he had a drug habit. I'm telling y'all, do not go back and resuscitate the dysfunction. If you know hanging with certain people gonna manifest some stuff, stay from over there. Don't be going back to prove that you healed from nothing. Do not resuscitate the dysfunction. Some of you are going to have to align properly, and that may cause injury, because you don't want to, when something hurts, you don't want nobody to bother it. You pamper that thing. You hold on to it. Your arm hurt. Don't touch it. Don't touch me. No, you're going to have to align that thing, because if you don't, it's going to get stuck. And now you are simply adjusting yourself to just address the manifestation and not the cause of the manifestation. Did I have a nasty attitude? Yes, I did. Was I promiscuous? Yes, I was. But in the beginning, when we first started talking, we were to assume that was all because of the violation. My first feeling of rejection really did not come from the violator. It came from my dad. Because I didn't understand how to interpret his version of love. He gave me the best that he had. But in that process, it injured my view. I can tell you exactly how old I was when I first heard my daddy tell me he was proud of me. I was 24 years old. And I was driving from California back to Florida. And I was driving, like I was like, oh. And my dad was like, I'm so proud of you. And it almost startled me, because he had never said it before. Never. Most of us have the ability to forgive people. It's the forgetting part that keep manifesting some stuff. You got to get to the cause of it. Because if you do not get to the cause of it, it's going to affect everything in your life, and you're not going to be able to align with your purpose. The danger about things that happen when you're little is that you grow up self-sabotaging and self-injuring yourself. Because remember, power is a trick. It wants you to control people and events. Empowerment wants you to control yourself. Stop just trying to gain power over somebody, but empower yourself to control you. One of my pedophiles, he dead. The other one's not. The last time I seen him, I was in Sanford. I was driving, and because he violated me and my cousin, and she was like, "That's him right there." And I had nothing about it. No, I didn't have anything about it. Like, it didn't do anything for me. As a matter of fact, I kind of felt bad because he was homeless. He was like pushing a buggy. Some of you can't do that. You still freeze up. It still triggers certain things in you. You're going to have to get to the cause of that. If every relationship you get in, the man is exactly the same, baby, it's not the man, it's you. If every relationship you get in and the woman is exactly the same, baby, it's not the woman, it's you. If every job you go to, they got the same issue and they firing you, it's not the job, it's you. What are the 4 pillars? Acknowledge it's you, accept that it's you, embrace that it's you, and evolve into the true you. You cannot do any of that if you're not willing to understand, how is it that I heal truthfully? How do I become whole? What does that mean? That means to get to the purest state. That you no longer address the manifestation. but you get to the cause of the manifestation. That's right, Crystal, the core of the issue. We've been taught to prune hedges, but nobody ever, that's why a lot of people don't agree with me when I say this. If a man is abusing a woman, he ain't no good, he should know better. Okay, I'm gonna go with your answer, that makes sense. But should she not know better not to stay there? But when you get to the cause of the abuse and the cause of her or him receiving the abuse, then you stop looking at the way it manifests, and what you see is two victims acting out what they saw and interpreting it their way. So yeah, my father was very abusive to my mama. I am not justifying that. But when I got to the cause of it, it made everything else make sense. I would never justify what he did to her. But what I can say is it makes sense now, because I didn't look at the manifestation, but the cause of it. I am that one. At some point, if you stay there, you're choosing that. That's it. I'm not going to argue with you. Because you got to be willing to say, I got to get myself out of this. How my mama got out? I'm going to tell y'all this. I don't even know why I'm telling y'all this, but somebody must be need this. How my mama got out was we had old clothes and new clothes, and she knew she couldn't just tell my daddy that she was going to leave. So she took all my old clothes and stuff and she put them to the front of the dresser, so that way he wouldn't know that we was moving out. Because she had made up her mind, this is it. Like, this is the last time I'm going to stay at my mom and them. You're not going to keep doing this to me. So my dad didn't even realize that we had moved out. Because if he check in the drawer, the clothes and everything are still in there. So because my dad, I told you this before, because my dad did not read like he should, my mama convinced him. Because when you tie, where there's a will, there's a way. She said, look, Brad, I need you to sign these papers because they're not going to give me food stamps and all this stuff that I need because we still married. So I just need, this going to be just a separation type thing. But I need you to sign it. So my dad never read it. You know why? Because dysfunction. Remember, we learned about surprising it. It's alarming. Ha! So the dysfunction didn't think to read this, because in his mind and the dysfunction, he always had power over my mama. So it ain't going to never be what he's going to think she's going to be able to get him. So he signed the papers. So they go to court. My mama played cool the whole time. They go to court. The judge was like, "It's finalized, Mr. Bradley." And Miss Bradley, I think he called about her maiden name. You are divorced. My daddy snapped in the courtroom, like she had got free. But was she healed yet? No. It took years for my mother to heal from the disease and the injury that had been afflicted upon her by my dad. But when you get to the core of it, the injury had already taken place because of her dad. That's the only way this stuff manifests. Remember, what does dysfunction want you to do? It does not want you to rehabilitate, because prisons are not sent for you to rehabilitate nothing. It wants you to build another prison of dysfunction. Remember, if I look at my life one way, it looks like I've been brought up in a bunch of women that are victims. But if I look at my life another way, I look at women that are victorious. Same people, different view. Because when you get to the cause of something, it removes the judgment. And many of you will not be healed until you remove the judgment. Because you don't want nobody to judge you, but you want to judge everybody else. Healing teaches you and shows you how to remove judgment. Stop trying to address the manifestations and address the cause of the manifestation. If somebody can come in the room, I say this all the time, and they can get you to act a certain way, they control you. They got the power over you. So we're going to have to figure this out. So now, what do, guys? We will not resuscitate the dysfunction. Do not, listen, I need y'all to sign the DNR. Do not resuscitate dysfunction. That's what I meant to say. We are not going to go connect with it. We're not going to give it mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. We ain't go through all of this. for us to turn around and resuscitate the dysfunction. Do not resuscitate. Do not resuscitate. Babu, do not resuscitate. Because the minute you do it, that thing gonna come back stronger. We are empowered people. Empowerment is what? To become stronger and more confident, gaining control over your life and claiming your rights. If you ain't doing none of that, you just been given some strong permissions. Anybody can encourage you. A song can encourage you. You need to be empowered. That's the only way you're going to keep the lights out your ears. So I want you guys, this is like so self-reflecting. This is something that like my mind is just kind of like, you know. My mind is like, like, because I keep looking at the time and my husband keeping me up with the time. So I love him for that. So what you guys have to understand is this. I do this right here. This is what I do. I love doing this. I do this Monday through Friday. But I authentically coach people. That's what I do. I am a life coach. I offer coaching sessions. Because this right here, this is just like, but it's not as personable. Because there are people who need more personable sessions. I offer the Mindset Matters course. But when you purchase the sessions, or you, I don't even like to say invest in. I don't like that word. But when you sow a seed in you, you're going to automatically get the coaching, the Mindset Matters 7-week course, because you got to be able to write it down and see it. So you can easily, like I told y'all, Mindset Matters, latishaanderson.org/shop. Click it. It'll get you where you got to be. I actually, so listen, so because I've been getting like so many people, like different coaches, different like contracts, you know, clients, that's the word, different clients. I actually now had to get a business phone number. So I'm going to give it to you guys. I actually had to get a 1-800 number because I do have people in other countries. I actually had to get, like, when you walk in your purpose, right, it aligns you to some stuff. So I'm going to give you, I'll send you the info, Crystal. I had to align myself with my purpose. And when I did that, guys, like, doors just open. Like, but I love what I do. This is my passion. This is my purpose. I don't want y'all walking around here healed for fake. Not healed for real, but healed for fake. I don't want you to do that. That's not right. That's not cool at all. Nothing about that. Okay? So until tomorrow, again, I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but y'all know how we do this. I kind of got a feeling, but I just want to be right. So until tomorrow, same time, same place, I want you guys to be truly healed. That's why I gave y'all the definitions. I need you to get to your authentic self. That thing that is pure. I need you to be free from injury. I need you to have a healthy mental state of mind. I need you to be able to get to that cause of what is manifesting. And don't let it deviate you from your purpose. So until tomorrow, you guys make it a great day. Y'all know I love y'all, and I have an amazing time with you guys. So tomorrow, same time, same place. Make it a great day, and remember to walk in true healing and do not resuscitate the dysfunction. Until tomorrow, bye-bye.